welcome to another episode of the Baddy Pre-Show Podcast. This is Chai.
And this is Blaze.
Blaze, my man, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. We just finished locking in the top 16.
Very excited, very relieved to be here.
Oh, yeah. Tier lists have been made. I'm hyped to talk about it.
Me as well. Do you know who's probably also excited for being in top 16?
Our player of the week, probably.
Absolutely our player of the week. And that player is Mulletzor.
Oh,
and talk about a terrifying person to have to play round one. I know King Joker just have dodged the smoke. Who is it this week?
The person
Wellens. Oh, that's gonna be a huge, what a slobber knocker for that very first 7 o'clock match. But yeah, Mulletzor, just straight up, you only had to win 2 games. Won 2 games immediately.
Made it look easy. Let up smash do the work. Even killed himself to make it interesting. Still got away with the 2-0 victory.
When you go 2-0, like, that's fine. Beating former player of the week, hook resets. I guess, like, we're going Highlander rules right now. There can only be one. He's got to beat the rest of them now.
Yep. Oh, that means I'm on the list too. I'm
not
as excited.
Watch out. That up smash is coming. I swear there's magnets on that man's up smash. People just fall into it all the time.
Yeah, not to mention F tilt. It's all scary. All the smash attacks are scary.
What's a little disappointing though is that with the cuts, last week was the first run we had to cut some people. Could not make it through. I want to give just a farewell and a shout out to our fallen friends, Zach Man, Huckletune, and a player that we both thought was going to make it, Albino Joe. These players, Albino Joe, a former top 8 player, Zach Man took a game off of me earlier in the season. Like, these are good players, and they're that close to being in, but they just couldn't make it.
Yeah, I think there was a time where Albino Joe could call in his top 8 placement. He wasn't too worried about getting in there, and now he's just kind of been bumped down as the seasons progress. We were all very excited to see Huckletune get to power percent and forward air or dash attack his way into the top 16, but it just wasn't in the cards this year. But I think out of those 3, the worst L that was hardest to watch was Joey losing to Cax's hero, his mortal enemy.
It honestly, there's something poetic to it. There's something beautiful about this league when you know.
Is there
like, of course, those two are both 1-1, so they have to face each other. And this is a match to get in. This is a match to get in.
Lucas puts away the Olivar, just lets Hero do the work.
Of all the characters he could have chose, it had to be Hero against Joey.
Sick.
But yeah, all of these players, Huckletune's better than he was last season. Zachman's better than he was last season. Albino Joe got a little bit better, and now that maybe we inspired him to pick up Min Min, definitely going to be a problem next season. All of these players, with maybe a 1 or 2 bad breaks going their way instead, are in this top 16. So these players, they put in their best work. They're not going to be able to play with us. But farewell to all our fallen friends, Zachman, Albino Joe, and Huckletune. Those are our lost friends. But we have, because he was so kind to being able to come on when we needed an emergency guest, I wanted to include this person a little bit more. Let's bring in one of our friends still in top 16, Kaiser. Care to join us for the next segment?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me as a emergency backup. Appreciate it.
6th man of the year right here, coming off the bench.
Yeah, that's how, I probably came across really sarcastic, but I genuinely meant it.
Now, I have a special treat for you and Blaze.
Lay it on us. Yeah, lay it on us.
Your second time you were on the show, you made a player tier list with me.
That's right.
And if I could think of any person who has very similar but very different thoughts about competitive Smash and just how like our players play, I think Kaiser's the best person for that. So, going into the second half of the season, we're going to do a little bit of we're going to make some baddie tier lists.
All right.
We're going to rank out the rest of the top 16.
Do you want you want our guests to go first with this tier list?
I think it's safe to go our guests. We're gonna let our guests go first.
We're not gonna go section by section, or
I guess we can go section. I kind of
like.
like that idea, Kaiser. We can go section by section, and then we can have like debate in between each section if there is debate.
I feel like there's a room, at least with me. I'm always room to be, or ready to be proven wrong, and I feel like there can maybe sway some arguments here and there.
Well, Kaiser, Blaze, we have 5 tiers, and the tiers are likely champions, top 3 contenders, top 8 contenders, close but no cigar. Someone who's just gonna miss out on making that top 8 week, and then the folks that are just happy to be here. Kaiser, you are our guest. We'll let you go first. Who do you have? I think we all probably have a similar idea. We were talking about it before we started recording, that the top tier was the easiest to rank. Who do you have for your likely champions?
Yeah, I think this one's kind of, anyone watching this probably is thinking the same thing. I think that it's kind of just a no-brainer putting KK King Joker there. I think King Joker's, obviously, if he were playing Sephiroth, would probably maybe be on a tier of his own, but I don't know if you guys have had the chance to play against it. It's very scary, but they're kind of just on a tier among themselves, and it's clear this season watching that they're just definitely on another level as of this moment.
Yeah, there's 2 players I wrote addendums for. King Joker has a little asterisk. That is, he's my number 1 pick to win it all if he bothers to play his mains. I have a feeling he's gonna dust him off at the if he gets to KK in grands or in winners finals or something like that. He did already do the random ditto against him, lost to KK in that, but I think if they go main for main, I think King Joker is probably this season's champion, with KK right there at second. Blaze, who do you got?
I put 3 in my likely champions.
Ooh.
Because I had to put in Candy Jack, since he is always there in grand final, well, most of the time. Won the Baddy Summit. Of course, the asterisk next to Candy Jack's name is he playing Link or not?
That's exactly why I don't have him in there. It's because my asterisk assumes he plays Game & Watch.
Yeah, the Game & Watch is improving, I would say. I think Game & Watch does have a lot of bad matchups, especially in Baddy League. But if he just picks Link, then he's guaranteed top 3. So I couldn't leave him out.
I think Candy knows this. I think the winning formula for him, if he wants to get back to that top spot like he was in the Summit, was play Game & Watch until you play someone with a sword, and then immediately switch to Link.
Right.
Because that's what's been proven to be his Game & Watch kryptonite, is just anything with a sword.
For sure.
Let's move on to top 3 contenders. I'm going to go first this time. I have 3 people here. I have Wellens, LPJ, and Candy, assuming he plays just Game & Watch. I would move him to likely champions if he swaps between Link and Game & Watch. But for now, if he's just going to be playing Game & Watch, I have him as a top 3 contender.
So these people could get top 3. That's the top 3 contenders.
But I don't see them winning at all.
You don't see them winning at all. Okay. All right.
Blaze, what do you got for this spot?
I've got... all right, maybe I should... I'm going to say King Joker, Candy...
Oh, no, this doesn't include people from the... Did you not include King Joker?
So I can't... Okay, so I can't include...
Yeah, it's a tier list.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm talking about Wellens. I'm talking about Shy. I'm talking about...
that's a little high, my friend. That's a little high. Ooh.
And then I'm talking about... I'm going to say Dudlington for top 3 contenders.
I thank you for the compliment. I don't think past history is... I think we're going to... relying on past history made it so both of us got Albino Joe wrong on our bet that he would make top 16. I don't think you can rely on past history that I most of the time make top 5 or to say that I'm going to make it this year.
Chai in the new apartment. Chai with some labbing, just some heavy labbing. I think it's possible getting top 3.
Kaiser, what do you think?
I mean, to that point, you've done it before, but to the tier list, I think mine's kind of similar enough to Blaze's there that I've got still in order. I also want to just add a quick addendum that my King Joker is second was under the assumption, put the asterisk there for me under the assumption going random still.
Yeah.
So the next three, I still in order. I got Wellens, Candy, and Duds in my top three contenders. I think that's maybe a little too many to put in there because obviously including the first two, that's 5 people for 3 slots.
Again, these are contenders,
But
not slots.
no, for sure, no, of course. But I just mean more so like I feel like Candy and Duds have both been a little inconsistent this season, and it's kind of up to them if they want to. That's why they're kind of in the lower part of that. I think they have the potential to be in the higher part of that, but I think they've just been a little inconsistent this season. It's coming from an inconsistent person.
Yeah, relatable. Blaze, you want to give us off? Lead us off on your top 8 contenders.
Wait, hold on, because I'm deleting all my duplicates. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, whatever. Basically, top 8 contenders. The only 2 people that I haven't. Oh, let me put myself. I mean, put myself on the thing. So people that could get top 8, and I haven't spoken about them yet. LPJ, of course, Lars, and myself and Kaiser.
Wow, I really had the highest stocks up on LPJ.
Yeah, LPJ got top 8 last year very convincingly. She could do it again, no problem. Lars has had a really good season, so he could also get top 8. I could also get top 8 if I don't kill myself and play really well. I think it's all possible. I think it's possible for the 3. Oh, and Kaiser. Kaiser always knows his shit. I think he's been in the lab pretty
extensively.
Yeah, I think he's been in the lab a lot this season, so he could easily get top 8. I'm sure his goal is to get as high as possible. That's only going to help him. So us 4 could definitely get top 8 this season. It's not going to be easy, but it's possible.
For top 8 contenders, I think Lars is the most likely to place 5th. If there's a subcategory that was top 5 contenders, I think Lars is phenomenal this season. I think he's a little underrated. I think he's doing great. I see a lot of great things out of Lars this season. I have Lars, then Duds. This one is the hardest one for me to rank because I rank these all in order. But I have Chris DPG an inch higher than Kaiser, even though Kaiser, admittedly, he did beat Chris DPG. But Chris DPG just had a general overall better record throughout the season than Kaiser did.
Okay. Right.
And then I have Kaiser next, and then Reaver to close out the top 8 contenders. I think all of these players have shown incredible flashes. I think they've shown some weakness, but I think these players are the ones that are most likely. Most of these players are going to be in top 8. Not all of them, because mathematically there's too many. But these are the players that they definitely deserve a spot on the graphic I make at the end of the season.
Well, to start off with, I'm gonna hopefully prove you wrong and hopefully start with my stream match against Chris TPG on Wednesday. But
all right.
I think my second point, I think you guys are sleeping on Reaver a little bit. Sticking with still in order as well. I've got LPJ for the top of my top 8 contenders, and then I've got Reaver next. I think you guys are sleeping on him a bit. I think he's one of those people that is just very hard to play against for a lot of people in the league, myself and anyone that tries to play a little more technical. He's just a nuisance, and I mean that in the most positive way. So after Reaver, I have myself, then Lars, then Chai to finish that off, and maybe after listening to Blaze talk, and maybe I'm sleeping on you, Chai, a little bit here. But you're right at the closing off my list where I think you kind of fall under that been a little bit inconsistent, where I feel like if you stick with the one character that you're feeling or the 2 or whatever, and you're feeling it. But obviously the beginning of the season, I beat you and you were playing Kirby one of the games, right?
Yeah.
That didn't. I mean, I'm glad I won, obviously, but that didn't feel like I won. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So I feel like it's for you I feel like you kind of just have the chance to be you're kind of my wild card, I guess, in that situation, I would say, where I could easily see you literally at the top of this list.
Yeah.
But right now, just because of the consistency, that's where I kind of got you.
Do you think getting married will improve Reaver's gameplay or be a detriment to Reaver's gameplay?
So I think it'll have a temporary boost. I think the happiness and just the no pressure vibes will kind of help him temporarily. I think in the long term, it will hurt him, though.
In the long term, you're saying Hannah is a detriment to Reaver's Smash career.
To his Smash career, yes, but a
Okay.
benefit to the rest of his life. So
We're not talking about the
net
rest of his
positive.
life.
I'm just saying net
That
positive.
doesn't matter.
I just want to put that out there. You guys are sleeping on Reaver as a whole. Like, damn.
All right, we're gonna go to the.
I became the Reaver fan club apparently.
Hey, there's apparently, according to the surveys, there's a lot of them, so you're not too much alone.
You're not alone.
Kaiser, you want to lead us off on the more downtrodden section of this list?
Yeah,
Close but no cigars.
my close but no cigar list. I feel like I put players who definitely could, if they're hot in a given day. I think the fact that it's over 3 weeks hurts them is the unfortunate part, and I think that led a lot to my decision making here. So still in order here, starting off with Chris DPG. Again, I feel like if he were to play all of his games in one day and he's just feeling good, I feel like he gets it. I think the fact that we have these 3 week situation kind of hurts him a lot, especially since he's been switching characters. Next, I've got Blaze there. Kind of a similar thing. I feel like Blaze, like, the amount of times I've played against you where you've either just been like insane and I'm just like, what the hell's going on? Compared to times I'm just like, oh, it's like night and day sometimes. So, and then I've got Mulletzor last. And I feel like Mulletzor, like a lot of this is matchup dependent, but unfortunately, since all these players that I'm mentioning came in slightly lower seeded, they're going to have to go up against these high and these hard matchups. Like Mulletzor, I think, was against Wellens first, and Blaze, you were against LPJ, if I remember looking at it right.
Yep.
And obviously, they're not unwinnable matchups, but they're matchups I think it's fair for me to say is expected LPJ and Wellens to come out on top eyes.
For sure.
So I think it just starts off with a hard road and definitely doable. And I definitely want to root for both of you guys and Chris DPG. I love him to death. He's a great guy, but I think the roads are just a lot tougher.
All right, for me, for close but no cigar, I have leading the charge here. I have Blaze. I think you kind of explained it well. Blaze can sometimes just go on like phenom runs where he's a top 5 player, and then sometimes poop his pants. I think both of you had too much stock in Chai. I think I have Chai not just probably like a very strong 9th place placing out of Chai this season.
Wow, sleeping on yourself though.
And then I have AJS0. I think we're like not giving him enough credit. He's gotten so much better since last season, and I definitely see him. There's even a reality where he's top 8, but I think we're sleeping a little bit on AJS0. I think he's looking pretty good this season. I have him in close but no cigar.
Definitely go ahead, Kaiser.
I was just gonna ask, do you think how do you feel like in that first matchup? Because I feel like it's gonna be huge. Like, do you think he can come out on top of Lars? I'm not saying you expect him to, but do you think it's like realistic?
Oh no, I don't think he's gonna beat Lars.
Okay.
I think
it starts with that first game.
Yes,
like realistically.
that first game is huge for a lot of people, and it's why I'm very, 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 very lucky that I get to play against Candy Jack with a sword.
Do you think AJS's Zero Samus can beat Lars?
I think his Samus can. I don't think his Pyramithra can. I do think if he's gonna beat Lars, it's with the Samus. I think it's his best character.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, close but no cigar. I definitely forgot about Mulletzor when I was redoing this thing, so I'm putting him at the top of the list.
Okay.
Right under Mulletzor, I'm gonna put Reaver.
You don't even think Reaver's making top 8?
No, I think the wedding is gonna be a detriment to his Smash career.
If you want to win Baddy Smash, don't get married.
I think he's going a series of days without looking at his GameCube controller. Just because the weddings I've been to, the wife kind of leads the husband around on a leash, just like all these tasks to do and all these, family members to shake hands with. And, so I just don't think he's going to have the time.
That leads to more chaos though.
Okay.
For Reaver
maybe
specifically.
It does. But chaos includes killing yourself. All right. Well, after Reaver, I've got Mulletzor, Reaver. I'm going to say AGS0. And I do want to acknowledge AGS0 has put in hours. He has really sharpened his game from last year as being someone who's lost to AGS0.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after AGS0, I've got Chris DPG. Just like Kaiser said, if Baddy was on one day and Chris DPG decided to play Ike for the whole day, he can get top 8. I think it's a very convincing top 8. But if you go on a week by week basis where Chris DPG gets to, manipulate his own mind and thinking that he's all of a sudden a pit master, then he's not going to get top 8. So
rough.
That's why I've got him in close but no cigar. And this is definitely the tier list where you've got like a bunch of sporadic, inconsistent results, right? Everyone in this tier list, we've seen them like, oh, this is amazing gameplay. You can get top 8 with this gameplay. And then there's other days where it's like, why did he do that? Why is he spamming the same move over and over? What are these air dodges? So it is what it is in the close but no cigar.
Kaiser, did we get your close but no cigar yet?
Yep. Yeah, I started it.
Okay. Got it. Just making sure. And then
Blaze,
you
lead us out. Yep, lead us off, please.
Yeah, I've only got 2 left. I think if I did my math right, for happy to be here, I only have Hook Resets and Cax. Hook Resets, another very improved player, former player of the week. Lost to him as well. So I already know he has said somewhere in a voice channel or said to himself that he is happy to be here, literally. But that doesn't mean I don't expect him to get 15th or 16th in this top 16 bracket. I expect him to get somewhere in that top 10 range just because he's been playing phenomenal. Cax, I'm kind of putting him in the Chris DPG category where it's just like, I'm not sure which character he's going to play at any given time. And I think he's also practicing new characters, so they might get thrown in the mix. Cax is a wild card for me, so it's just kind of, I'm not really sure what he's going to do, when he's going to do it. But I'm happy to see him in top 16, and I want him to do well, but not as good as me.
For me, am I just happy to be here? Leading the charge is Mulletzor. If Duds had the cock of confidence that Mulletzor has, he'd be a top 3 player easily. I think Mulletzor is the most confident in their abilities and will always think they're going to win. I love that about Mulletzor, but I don't love the fact that they play Ganondorf, and I don't even think they're the best Ganondorf in this league. I then have Cax. That's my homie. That's my old roommate. Again, I feel the same way you do, Blaze, is that really dependent on who he plays and the matchups he gets hooked up with. It really depends on how he's going to do. Yep. And then last, and this isn't a shame, you're still here, so it's not a shameful thing, but Hook Resets, he's still got a lot to learn. And so I have Hook Resets right here at the bottom of 16. And I actually think he's probably going to, maybe he'll win. I think he'll maybe go 1-3, but I don't think he's getting out. Kaiser, what do you got?
I'm going to be honest. So based on the names in these tiers and also how you guys have talked, I'm glad we did it this section by section, because I immediately already feel bad for my first one, because even at the time I was like, it doesn't really fit the tier, but it's kind of where I feel like they fit in terms of the tier, if that makes sense. And that first person is AJS, that at the top of it, still in order here. And I think a lot of what you guys kind of rang true. I feel like if he played against me right now, I feel like we would go down to like a last stock game. I almost certainly. And I feel like he plays really well into certain people, like myself, for example. But I also think the problem here. Someone moved and pulled me, so that was kind of awkward. I'm not sure what happened there. I heard Albino Joe's voice for a second.
That'll be a fun little
as we continue that. Recording. Yeah, as we continue going from there. Like I said, I think AJS0 is someone that he's really good into certain matchups. I think there's a lot of people he plays really well against. Like I said, like myself, a few others. The downside and the problem is I think there's a lot of people he's going to play poorly into, and that's not him. I think that's just like a matchup thing and how he plays. And unfortunately, I think that kind of starts with Lars, and I think he's got one of the hardest roads to get there. Mm-hmm. I see him as having a near impossible road to getting like a top 8 spot to begin with, if I'm being honest with you. Not that it's literally impossible, obviously. It's just I think he's got probably the 3rd hardest road to get there, just looking at these matchups. And so that leads me to my next one, which would be Cax. I put him there. I think Cax and I still fully believe Cax and I own like a top 5 baddie set of all time to this day. The very first year of the losers bracket, that just was insane. Classic, I've seen him. I've seen him have incredible highs. I've seen him have incredible lows, and I think Blaze kind of hit the nail on the head there, where it's just like, what am I going to see? And I feel like if he buckled down, really was like, this is my character. I'm gonna lab all this stuff out, or I'm gonna just focus the time. Not saying that anyone has to do that, obviously, but I feel like if he were to do that, I feel like I would rate him a lot higher. But I just feel like it's just a lot of inconsistency there, kind of. And again, then we go look at that matchup. Like, who's he play against first? KK, I'm pretty sure, right? He was the 16th seed.
I think
that's
Hook is let me see.
no.
Quick.
I'm looking right now. Yeah, Hook's the 15th. So Hook's okay. So I just pulled up the list. Yeah, Hook's against King Joker here. So yeah, you get that KK Cax matchup. Like, that's, let's be honest, that's 1 to 99% in KK's favor. Unfortunately, I think that would go for most of the league. Unfortunately, so it's just one of those ones. I think his road, is just near impossible. And Cax himself said he was happy to be here and happy that he made it, especially after last week. And finally, so the last person then goes the Hook resets, and I love Cal. I love him to death. Fun fact, I was when he first was playing. If you guys remember, he was playing with Joy-Cons. I'm the one, I sent him one of my Pro controllers.
What a homie! What a friend!
I was like, I was so tired. He literally was just trying to be like, no, it's okay. And I was like, dude, I've got 3 of them. I play with a GameCube controller. Just please take it. I was so tired of him playing with those goddamn Joy-Cons. And so I was just the fact that he put in so much work doing in the lab, and he is literally just a superhero story in the making. He's just got 1 season left in the training arc, There's the author still has got to write those pages, and he's still has got to beef up for a little bit.
Shout out to the Baddy Smash Joy-Con users. I remember Firehawk, I think, also used Joy-Cons.
No,
you're not gonna shout out.
No shout out. I'm sorry.
Oh, damn.
Love Firehawk, but no.
At least they're here, man. They're here. They're trying to make it work.
But hey, those were our tier lists. Feel free to mention in the comments or in the Discord where you agree and disagree. And we will get back with the interview with Kaiser in a little bit. But first, a quick commercial break. So, Reaver is on his honeymoon. So, normally he would make the commercial as per our agreement. But I'm not going to bother him during his honeymoon. For all we know, he's making Revets and Revelings. Today's sponsor, contraception. Please use it. We don't need more of you around. I promise. Welcome back to the Baddy Pre-Show podcast. This is Chai.
This is Blaze.
Kaiser, you feeling a little shy?
Oh, am I supposed to say this is me? I thought you were gonna welcome me. I guess I was already here.
You're already here.
That's awkward. Yeah, that's awkward on my part. I made it awkward.
I'm keeping this.
You should, because I made it awkward.
I loves his awkward pauses. He loves it.
Anyway.
Dead air.
Anyway, Blaze, you want to leave us off?
Yes. All right. So we're kicking off the interview portion with Kaiser. Kaiser, thank you for being on the show for a second time. I think the first time we had you, we didn't get a chance to hear your origin story. This is not the only Baddy League that you're in. So just sort of give us the rundown of the verse Baddy League you were in, how you got into Baddy Smash, who brought you in, et cetera, et cetera. You've heard the show.
Yeah, so I was very kind of lucky that I actually, well, I guess unlucky at the beginning, because I actually ran into their League of Legends team at University of Stout, Wisconsin, where kind of it started. So this must have been 8-9 years ago, somewhere in there. My friends and I were like, hey, let's, we're all a bunch of platinum players. Let's join this tournament. It's, a college school, probably be fun. No, it's just all of a sudden this team, like Baddy team, was all of a sudden just crushing people and everything. And that was my first time ever actually seeing them. But funny enough, it wasn't until about 6 months later at the next Pong. The Pong was for that 48-hour LAN that they had. I ran into them playing Smash, funny enough, actually, that I got kind of talked to by some of them. And so I actually was lucky enough, AJS actually invited me to his house for his house party that he has often. So this was actually before I was in the league at all. I went to Swift's house, and I kind of met all of them. And it was really fun. They always kind of had a party there. I ended up being a designated driver for some people to get back to their hotel and stuff. And so it was a fun night. It was really memorable. I got to meet just pretty much everyone that was kind of there from the beginning, almost right away. Albino Joe was incredibly nice to me, and he was probably the one that talked to me the most at the beginning. Just incredibly nice, and throughout for the years, he's continued to be someone like that for myself and a lot of other people. So definitely big shout out to him. So I kind of got in towards then. I kind of started playing in the League of Legends one there for a little bit, but really started kind of taking place more funny enough once Baddy Smash took place, like the very beginning. I kind of skipped out in the first season, and I regretted it because I was invited to it by the group as a whole, and I was kind of like, I don't really want to do that. And then so season 2, I immediately started hopping in because I started watching in season 1. I literally week one I watched, and I was like, I'm an idiot. I'm such an idiot for not joining.
Mm.
And it just kicked off from there. I started season 2 then in Baddy Smash, and I've been involved with pretty much mostly everything. There was a spin-off league that Mad Cow took over, for example, for 1 year for League. I was involved in that. I've been involved in Baddy Valorant. I've gotten other people into Baddy Overwatch League, like Dirty Dan. That name maybe rings a bell to some people.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with the Dan.
Yep. So for example, that, and it's honestly been, at some points in my life, just desperately needed, and I've had some real lows, and it's been something that's just been amazing, and I'm so thankful to have met everyone at Stout, Swift and Joey, and Blabuer, honestly, at the time was one of the first people to talk to me. I met a lot of like the OGers and stuff, and like I said, went to Swift Zed's house, and it kind of just took off from there, and now I'm kind of everywhere, and maybe not necessarily the best way, but it's just great because, like I said, there's always something going on. The Baddy Valorant scene and community has been just phenomenal, and every league kind of brings something different to the table. So it's just fun. It's definitely amazing.
Hell yeah. What's not so amazing though, Kaiser? We're gonna be a little mean in this interview.
Oof.
You play a lot of Joker and Wolf. Those are your two go-tos for online play. But for online play, I'm willing to say, because I've played against you a lot, Kaiser, in friendlies at least, your Joker is nowhere near your Wolf in online play, at least. What matchups and situations do you still find Joker valuable in? Because if I was you, I'd probably just focus on the Wolf.
This season I kind of have been focusing mostly on Wolf. I think there are still some bad Wolf matchups. I think a lot of them it's kind of situational. As Wolf, I'm very scared to fight against like Roy, for example, honestly. And thankfully we don't have anyone playing him this season because he's actually I'm so afraid to play against that character. That's sort of scary. And it's mostly, like you said, I've kind of been mostly focusing on the Wolf this season. I've taken a few lessons from like Jackal and Charlie, and I've definitely I sent you notes and stuff. I've been labbing it out, taking notes lately, especially more seriously this past about 2 weeks here. I've really been taking it a lot more seriously.
We're definitely going to get into that in a little bit later.
I'm happy to, I got my notebook still, so I'm ready. But I think you're mostly right. I think it's one of those things that it's kind of funny because I think a lot of people don't realize that, like, I've been Alpha Mew in a tournament at Stout, for example.
That's why I said online.
No, I know.
Very specific.
I don't get me wrong. I know and everything, and I'm not trying to say that sounds braggy, and I don't mean it to. It's just more so like I feel so much confidence like in the Joker when I play him typically that it's hard. It's just hard for me to give him up, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Now, going back to the Wolf, you are known. Some people know you in the famous set against Heather, where it's a stalemate. Heather on one side of Northern Cave, you as Wolf on the other side of Northern Cave, and you just shooting Wolf laser. And I think you don't mind, just waiting on one side of the stage, spamming laser. Is the strategy just, okay, trigger the opponent to make them approach you? Or is it a much more intricate plan than that, saying, no, this is what I'm going for when I Wolf laser?
So I think a lot of people kind of have a misconception with Wolf laser, and it's just more so like I'm never shooting a Wolf laser to actually hit you, if I'm being honest with you. Like, unless you're off stage, I'm probably not doing that. Or like the famous sometimes, like if I can catch you rolling away on a down throw, I'll shoot a laser out to try to catch the tech. But most of the time I'm shooting a laser to get you to move or do something to see what you'll do. Preferably if you're a slower character, I love when you're coming in on me then, because Wolf has his fair is one of the best anti-air tools in the entire game. And I want to see what you do more than anything. I think Wolf and it's kind of funny. Wellens and I were actually talking about this the other day. I think Wolf is probably the only character of the top and high tier characters that don't have just a dedicated game plan to winning. He's the only character in that of those lists that needs to be more reactive and that's their game plan. Their game plan is, I'm going to beat you because I'm going to react to what you're doing. I'm going to just play better than you and everything like that.
I mean, it sounds a little short. He's like a toolbox character where all of his tools are good, but they don't tell you what to do with the tools. There's no instruction kit.
Oh, of course. And I'm not trying to say I don't mean to imply that he's bad or weak or anything. I just genuinely mean, like, he doesn't have, and I was like, the KK actually said this to me the other day. I think this is maybe a better way to put it. He doesn't just have like a win condition where it's like, you do these things, you will win the game. Mm-hmm. But like Joker does, Sonic does, right? Pyramithra does, Rob does. All these characters have kind of like their game plans of what they want to do coming into the game. Whereas as a Wolf player, you're kind of coming into the game as like, okay, what are you doing? And obviously everyone needs to think like that and as a whole, but it's as a character, he's kind of one of the few characters in the game that does that.
Yeah.
Definitely not the only, but I think he's the only of that like top/high tier category that's like that. And so I tend to be really patient, and I'm fine being a patient player. So I tend to just be like, yeah, I want to see what you do. And against the Heather one, I know it's a little infamous. It's a little of a hot topic. But if you go back and look at it, she's literally one hit away from being killed and then one grab combo away from being an even game. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, even in my head at that point in time, I didn't feel like I was behind. Obviously, I'm cognizant of the fact that I was down a stock and everything there. But it's not like I was like, wow, you're really far behind this game. The whole time I knew I was just like, okay, if she just wears her shield down a little bit, it's just one up tilt, one nair off, even at the corner, she's dead.
Yeah.
And then we got an even game again. So I'm fine just sitting there and not doing anything if you're not going to do anything, because Wolf, and this is something that, like, the best way to beat me, and you'll notice if you go back to all the games I lose, it's when I play aggressive, when I'm jumping in, when I'm doing things, when I'm trying to be the aggressor as opposed to the reactor. I lose almost every time. And AJS calls me out on this a lot. I've watched some of my VODs a lot, and he'll say it, a lot. He's just like, why isn't he not just going back, doing his laser, getting his game plan, be more patient? And he's right. And a lot of times I get in my own head. And so like I need to be more patient, honestly. So, and my coach Jackal, if I'm being honest with you, told me I need to shoot more lasers. So you'll see more of them probably.
I'm excited. So excited for more lasers. Unironically. What I am most excited about, this is, I think, the one thing I really wanted you to talk about more than anything else. Because you mentioned your notebook before, and a lot of people, especially in Baddy Smash, do not have a lot of time to practice to get better. They got jobs, they got families, they have other hobbies, other games they want to play. But you shared with me, and I'm going to put it on screen, the screenshot you showed me.
Oh, shit.
A handy way to train, so they're going to show your bad handwriting. A handy way to train some of the main skills you really need to focus on for only 40 minutes a day and maybe like twice a week. You kind of adapted it and modified it from a Melee player named Albert who did this and ended up being like a top 100 player.
Yeah, he became within 5 months of competing the best or the second best player in Texas. I'd have to go back and double check. Yeah. But he made a Reddit post like 14 years ago, I think it was 10 years ago, something like that. Tech found it, and then the only section, there was one section he had that was Melee, really Melee specific, that I just adapted the ultimate.
But what I was getting at is I think this could be really valuable to the rest of the league for players to get better in the league and kind of elevate that skill level. Do you want to tell us a little bit more, just a quick rundown, a quick 411 on what this is?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely fair. I mean, we're sharing my secrets, right? Everyone's going to get like crazy better when I'm trying to catch up to KK here. But no, I think it's just one of those things that, like you said, it's a lot of people don't have the time, myself included. A lot of the times I'm trying to do things, hang out with friends, go, do activity, like whatever. Everyone's like that. And on top of that, it's really hard to find, like, most guides. If you watch like Void, for example, he's like, yeah, I play 3 hours a day. That's how you should be practicing. That's unrealistic. And obviously that's their job, so they can take it more seriously and everything. But basically, so I kind of took that regimen that Albert that created, and it's mostly just really about going step by step here and just doing these things with really good intent to practice, like 8 minutes of tech practice, right? Every day, like anything that you're struggling with, any of those technical things that you're struggling with, like for example, myself, like I've missed some B reverses. A lot of times my B reverses are supposed to be slingshots that I'm messing up. And so because I'm holding out as I'm still trying to press the B because I'm trying to slingshot gun, right? A lot of times it instantly turns into a side B. Those things cannot happen. And it's my fault for letting them happen because I just need to practice them to make sure they don't happen. So every single day, for example, for those 40 minutes, those 8 minutes that I've been doing have been slingshot practice basically. And I think it's starting to come through in my gameplay a little bit now. I think it's getting a little cleaner. But like the next thing, and I think this is again like you have that 8 minutes of combo practice and stuff that you need to get that practice. Every character has something. I'm dropping a lot of kill confirms in games. Again, that can't happen. Especially, am I going to beat someone like KK if I drop a combo that I hit the combo starter? Probably not. It's just probably not going to happen. So then I think like the next ones are kind of just like the more technical ones that I think people kind of don't even think about. And I think that's just like matchup review. Watch a pro player who plays one of your games. And or try to find, like, for example, I've been watching like Jackal play against Ike players and Pit players just to be prepared for this weekend, right? Or for this week, excuse me. And then like you're just take what you learned, practice that for just not too long. The next one I think is the hardest one is shadow boxing. I think a lot of people it gets easier with time, and I'm starting to kind of get the groove of it. But I think just being really like mixing up your movement, like undershooting, overshooting, and like, but this part's like the parts that's really important, I think, to actually help my gameplay, and I think could help a lot of people, especially if you don't have someone to play against in the moment, is just think like, how could they have reacted? What could they have done? Something like that. If you really, really think about that, it starts just to kind of become ingrained in your brain. And then lastly, just kind of finish with some free practice and some friendlies. And that free practice, again, it just be really intent and with what you're trying to do. And realistically, it's not that much time. Just two days a week, 3 days a week, whatever. If you can kind of just sneak in 40 minutes, I've already in the past week gone from getting 3-stocked every game by KK's Kazuya to I got him to do like a last hit. And for example,
that's huge growth.
So that's fine, and that's just all happened literally in the past week or two here, and it's literally just because I've finally gotten kind of committed to doing it, and I think that's the biggest thing, right? You just need to kind of do the work, so to speak, and it's so, and I don't blame anyone obviously for not wanting to do it. Everyone comes in this league with different expectations, but I don't want my best season to be my 5th place where I played against duds in that winners semifinals. Yeah, excuse me. Not that was a great match and it was super fun. We went to game 5 and all that, but it's one of those where I don't want my peak to be behind me, if that makes sense, right? But I also realize, especially now that technically I have a disability, and it's definitely, I can't just coast on like adapting and learning on the fly like I kind of used to as much, and then just practicing technical things.
Yeah,
I need to get a routine, and I really need to be technical about the whole process. Yeah. And I think this is something that, like, obviously if anyone wants to copy it, definitely go for it.
Yeah, I don't think I've modified it a bit to add just more movement in mine, because that's the main thing I'm really lacking right now, and characters like Cloud don't have a ton of kill confirms and combos, so you can kind of shorten that a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's definitely adaptable, and I think this kind of was just one that I kind of was practicing for a few days, trying to find something that worked for me. And like I said, I think that the 40-minute routine is something that's it's just realistic to do, especially because you can kind of break it apart, right? Like, okay, I'm going to do steps 1 and 2 now, and then like maybe take a little break and maybe get some food, and while I'm eating the food, I'll watch like a pro player play against some matchup, right? I've struggled against LPJ, for example. So I've been watching, like Ouch versus Peanut, or Jackal versus Peanut, and those matchups, right? Things like that. I think like as long as you do that, just like making sure you're just coming in with the game plan and the focus and the intention, it's easier, and you'll actually see results. I think that was kind of my big problem, especially since I kind of lacked the motivation after my eye surgery, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, I'm glad you got it now.
Hopefully not too late for the season, but
Blaze, you got anything you want to chime in with?
I mean, the last question is your kind of custom question, so I was going to let you have it.
It is my custom question. Yeah, Kaiser, as you know, I always have a would you rather as the last question for this season. And I got a spicy one for you. You and I are both Bucks fans. You have season tickets to the Bucks. You're a bigger fan than I. How familiar are you with Bucks history, though?
I guess it depends how far back you
like
mean,
in the 90s.
I feel like I'm fairly enough like familiar with it. Probably not like, I'm not like some fanatic that's like crazy knows every stat or anything, but I definitely watched a lot. And are you going with like Mike here? Is this where we're going?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought we had a don't leave it thing here going.
All right. So the would you rather. So one of these situations is that the front office does so much cocaine. They do a copious amount of cocaine. And they make a trade with a bunch of different teams to make this new roster. Would you rather the team have this roster or be the way they were in the 1990s, which is the worst team in the league?
Wait, what's the roster?
The roster is Kyrie Irving,
Oh.
Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, Ja Morant, and Dylan Brooks.
I mean, obviously you take that. That's like, as much as I wouldn't want to root for like Kyrie, for example.
I tried to make the most dislikable team I could.
Yeah, they're not players I want to like root for necessarily, but they're definitely talented players. That's kind of like I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like this is kind of a layup as a question, because I feel like if you don't take that option, you're kind of just trolling for the sake of being a hater.
Really? You would rather? I actually thought this question was a little more difficult. I thought you would be a little more adverse.
I don't feel
to rooting
good
for
about
this
it.
team.
I don't feel good about it, but it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, you've got, like Kevin Durant though. Like, yeah, I'm taking KD. Like, I don't, like he's a top 15 player of all time. Like, give me
You know
give
how
me
I
KD.
feel about KD.
I know, but like he's good. He gets buckets.
He does get, admittedly, he does get buckets.
Just saying.
Do you still think you'd have your season tickets if they were 90s level Bucks?
God no. I got very lucky. The fact that I drive there a lot, they actually gave me like free upgrades and stuff. So I got very lucky within the organization, and so I'll be there for a few years now, rocking this window that we have. If anyone wants to come with me, I'd love to see you there. It's just I got this window now, right? You got to take opportunity of it. I'm not gonna sit there and watch Kyrie Irving play every day. I'm sorry. I'm no.
Blaze, are you much of a sports fan?
I watch less basketball than I used to. I know all these names that you've listed. I'm definitely taking this team. I'm going to see this team play if I was in Wisconsin. And I would definitely kind of hope for a trade in the midseason. Two names I would really want to get rid of is Draymond and Dylan. I'll root for Kyrie. He's crazy, but I'll root for him.
I can't get the off the court stuff. It's too much.
I need a flat Earth tee with Kyrie somewhere.
I can't. Dylan is at least like he goes hard. He's you need people that as much as you don't want to root for him like because of his antics, like you need people like that in the league. I think that's fair to say.
Okay. Lastly, Kaiser, you know what comes next. That way that all interviews end. You get the stump. Anything? Actually, we'll save that for a little bit because we still have the Baddy Bets. Blaze, is your dad awake right now?
At 9:30, I can give him a call.
Give him a call. we gotta clutch it through for the fans.
What's the protocol? I'm just saying I'm calling because I lost.
I'll go first, and you can go through mine. Put it on speaker.
Excited.
What's up, man?
Not much, Dad. Not much. I got some bad news.
What's up?
Well, I lost a bet.
Okay.
And I all I have to do is just call you. I'm gonna tell you you're the coolest, but I gambled and now I have to call my dad live on a podcast.
Not a problem, man.
You're the best. I'm glad you didn't have any questions or be too concerned when I told you I lost a bet and it's bad news. Okay. Last time I called, you thought I accidentally killed someone, so
He's used to the shenanigans.
you're used to the shenanigans. It's no longer a ruse.
Your turn to win a bet, though.
All right, sounds good. But later. Simple as.
See, I don't have that luxury. I'm not a gambling man.
Just say you called to say you love them. That's all. And you just.
We'll give you that pass.
No,
I think that's even. I'm gonna be honest. I think that's more wholesome too. Like.
I'd rather just call and say I lost a bet.
I didn't say it was easier. I said it was more wholesome.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach.
Sleep. But save it for the next one.
Nah, you get a pass through. You did the call. It's something you can have a fun talk about over breakfast tomorrow.
I'm gonna get a call. If it's any consolation, I'll get a call at 7 a.m. tomorrow saying, "Yeah, did you call me?" And I'll be like, "No, I didn't."
All right, but we got a new bet though. Are you ready for this new bet, Blaze?
Yeah. What is it?
So we got a bunch of matches next week, and I think it's fairly safe to say that betting on figuring out who's going to go 2-0, because there's going to be 4 people who end up going 2-0, is pretty easy to guess. You can at least get probably 2 of them with King Joker and KK out the door right away, right? But what's going to be harder to guess is who's going to go 1-1. 4 players are going to go 1-1
At the end of Wednesday.
We're going to both bet that 4 different people are going to go 1-1. And the loser will have to deal Kaiser's punishment.
All right. Do I get to go
Kaiser,
first?
do you got any ideas?
Oh, I got. You want the punishment first?
Do it.
All right, so I'm gonna be honest with you. This first one, I wanted to kind of have a mix of a little personal payback, but also something that slightly affected you actually in the event of Baddy Smash. So hopefully that's okay with that line. But you guys both have ducked me multiple times when I've been like, "Hey, we're playing our match. You want to stay in a call with me?" And you guys have been like, "Nah, I'm gonna leave." So the loser this week for their stream matches, every single stream. Chat of Baddy Smash while the stream is going. So players will be commenting on your match about 5 seconds behind your match, and it will be very interesting and fun for you guys.
Oh God, I don't know if I could handle that. That's crazy.
So we'll be in a Baddy general chat.
Yeah, you'll be 10 other people. General with all the 5 to 10 other
with
people that normally hang out in there, and this is a little bit of a personal punishment because, like I said, you ducked me and I felt a little insulted. So
I'm sorry, friend.
I regret nothing. Also, so if we lose, we have to wait for Wednesday to we get the results of who's 1-1.
Yep.
And if we're wrong, we have to play week 2 of the bracket in fucking group chat.
All of your matches.
Fuck.
Oh. I knew this was one that you guys would both dislike.
I always listen to music when I play too. So
I know you do, Chai. That's why I felt like this was. I wanted to come in like kind of a medium spice level. So
I'm going
Yep.
first. I'm picking my 1-1s.
Yep.
My 1-1s. Shit. I wish AJS had made the fucking challenge already, and then I could like see the visual bracket. I'm too lazy to make it myself. But now there's shit on the line.
I mean, you can just look at the announcements to see who's playing next week. It's gonna help make it easier.
Yeah. But it's like I'm just looking at if Cax loses against KK, who does he play after that?
So that's kind of the hard question, though, right? Because
no O1s are playing.
Know, you don't know though, right? Because if KK, let's say I beat
no
Chris
O1s
DPG,
are playing. Interesting.
But, yeah, it's only 1-0s.
But let's say Cax beats KK, just for the sake of argument for the bracket, right? The 16 seed now is going to play against this 2 seed if they win, right? So you don't necessarily know matchups at all. If there's one upset, those matchups get shifted.
Yeah, you're picking out of 16. You're picking 4 people.
They're gonna go 1-1. Okay, let me say. Don't go to sleep now. Okay, let me say. Kaiser, Blaze. No, that literally makes no sense. Fuck, man. Fuck this. Let me say Kaiser, Mulletzor. Lars.
You think Mulletzor is going to beat Wellens?
He could.
Okay.
That's not impossible.
Okay.
Kaiser, Mulletzor. I should have looked early. Oh, that's last week. Okay. Kaiser, Mulletzor, Lars. Only 1-1s. I'll say LPJ. That's a safe bet.
Okay. I have LPJ, Reaver, Lars, and DPG.
Who does Reaver play?
Duds.
Oh, off stream.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got LPJ beating Ublaze. I got Reaver beating Duds. I got Lars beating AJSR, and I got DPG beating Kaiser.
Okay.
Only I did change it as you were talking, only because you took Kaiser, and I want our things to be as different as possible. I actually
Okay.
I think the
Kaiser's gonna
Kaiser
beat
Chris
DPG.
DPG matchup. I think that matchup will. I think that either one of those picks are pretty safe picks for the 1-1.
Yeah.
So I said Kaiser, Lars, Mulletzor. Who else did I say in the last name? LPJ? Is that what I said?
Yep.
All right.
And I said LPJ, Reaver, Lars, and Chris DPG.
This is insane. This is fucking insane. All right. I'm good. All right. I'm locked in.
Those are our bets.
Kaiser, just for shits and giggles, do you just want to say your predictions?
Oh yeah, I'll give mine out. So I think, let's see here. I had Kaiser, Mulletzor, then it was Chai, and who was the second? Where is it? Or the fourth?
Both of you thinking Mulletzor's taking a big upset over Wellens.
I think he has a big chance. I think there's one of those chances where it's just gonna like kind of sneak in under, and it's gonna be like, wait, what happened? You know what I mean? Because that happens. Maybe I'm speaking too much, but that happens to me a lot. Where people beat me, I'm just like, wait, what happened?
I feel that.
So let's see. Okay, so yeah, Kaiser, Mulletzor, Chai were my first three that I think are the easy ones, and then I think the second one that'll happen here, or the fourth one, excuse me, that'll happen here. I'm gonna give it to Lars.
Alrighty. We'll give you some extra shout outs in the next week's podcast if you are the most right of us three. But you are not on the hook for any punishment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like I said, this was a punishment that I did strictly design for you two, because I know your tendencies with how you want to play and everything. So I hope you'll enjoy. I hope it came through with the medium spice.
It's a spicy one. I like it. I do like it as much as I hate it.
I think one of the reasons why everyone is saying Mulletzor, it's not the sense that we think Mulletzor is going to upset Wellens. If Wellens beats Mulletzor, you probably see, I don't know who he plays next, but he'll probably go 2-0.
Yeah.
Like Wellens is not a 1-1 player. He's a 2-0 player. Mm-hmm. Mulletzor is a 1-1 player. Like he'll lose to someone, he'll win against someone. So I think that's kind of where our head is at.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, exactly. This was actually, I think, a great bet because, like, it's really, you can't pick KK, for example, right? Like,
yeah.
There's
no locks.
So I think this was a really fun one.
All right, Kaiser. It's the end of the interview, by the way. We did a little extended one to include you in a couple of segments. Is there anything you want to say for that? You got 5 minutes. Anything for the people? Anything you want to shout out?
I definitely don't need 5 minutes. I don't have too much of a soapbox these days, but I just definitely want to give a shout out to just the league as a whole. Like I said, I think it's been genuinely one of the best things that's happened to me in my life. I've met some of the best friends I have to this day. Obviously Duds, Chai, like I talk to you guys regularly. We hang out and do things. Even just getting the chance to meet people, you know, like Kits, for example. Like Kits just come over to my house and accidentally fed my cat beer. So like that those things just never would have happened if it wasn't for the league as a whole. And you know, like Baddy Valorant, I get to cast, you know, pretty much every week, and with you know, 30 helping me out there and everything, and it's just fun, and the leagues are all different and special, and they all honestly mean a lot to me, and especially because obviously everyone knows I've gone through quite a bit of things over the years. Some people have kind of joked that my life can put a tragedy novel to shame, and I think it's just honestly been a lot of people in this very Discord that have helped me out and basically are the reason why I'm still here today, if I'm being honest with you. I can say with certainty I probably wouldn't be if it wasn't for, you know, like Jake and like you, Chai, I should just say Duds, sorry, and like a lot of other people that have just honestly done so much for me when they didn't have to. Like the amount when I was the one that like had the hot takes channel, like Albino Joe, he reached out to me literally immediately after and was talking to me. Like something like that is just, it's special. And it's something that I don't ever want to take for granted. And I just hope that no one else that listens to this or plays in these leagues, I hope they feel the same way in that regard.
Heartfelt words, Kaiser. Heartfelt words.
And of course, shout out to your co-commentator on Baddy Valorant, Disenchanted. Another Baddy Smash player that we all want back.
Yeah, Disenchanted, Tuna Sub. I know there's a few others, but like they both had to come. I actually, funny enough, messaged Tuna Sub, told him to come back yesterday. So I'm wearing him down.
Well, hey, I think that's. Go ahead, Blaze.
I get genuinely furious when I see Tuna Sub log into Fortnite Wednesdays at like 7 p.m. I'm just like, what are you doing? Have you lost your mind?
I've been seeing him play a lot of CS2 lately, and so I've been harassing him.
All right. Yeah, there's definitely, it'd be nice to see those guys back. But in the meantime, that's the show. This has been Chai.
I am Blaze.
And I was Kaiser.
Thanks for listening.
For so many years, I thought that there was something wrong with me, that I was the black sheep and I needed to change my personality. And after a lot of time and consideration, I realized who I was. I'm a piece of shit.